Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our session for the School Meals Coalition. You are very welcome here today. We are so happy to be with you and to have you involved in this really great discussion that we're going to have today. I'm just going to wait a few more minutes to see if anybody else is joining us, and then we'll get started. Brilliant. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Sophie Healy-Thau. I'm Irish but based in London, and I am the co-founder of Act for Food, Act for Change, which is a youth-led campaign to transform food systems, led by young people for young people, but working in partnership with allies of youth. And I'm also the Global Youth Campaign coordinator from the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. Now, I know you're all looking forward to seeing the incredible Yumna host this session today, and we're really excited for her to join us a little bit later. So forgetting a primary ingredient, youth involvement in school meals transformation, in partnership, this session is in partnership with Act for Food, Act for Change, the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, and Local Governments for Sustainability, ICLEI. So we've got an hour-long session for you today, hopefully a little bit interactive, a little bit fun. We'll shake things up a little bit. We've got a great panel discussion, and then we'll take we have a guest speaker as well. And then we'll have a Q&A from you guys after the panel discussion. And then we'll have a little call to action for everybody as well, from some incredible initiatives that are coming out very, very soon. So we are monitoring the chat box, so please do put any questions you have for our panelists in that chat box. Today's session is all about highlighting the central role of youth in initiatives like the School Meals Coalition and drawing a really clear link between healthy, sustainable, accessible school meals and creative youth involvement to ensure action, primarily because young people should not just be the beneficiaries of school meals, but also the creators of policies and programs to implement school meals. Today, I am joined with some incredible panelists. I'm very lucky to be here with them today. Our first panelist is Annalise from Ricolto. Annalise, would you like to introduce yourself? Annalise, I think you are muted.
Okay, now you should be able to hear me. Brilliant. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here today to talk with you all. I'm a bit old. I feel a bit old today, but I'm just going to present myself. I'm working at Ricolto. Ricolto is an NGO working across the globe. And it is our mission to achieve a sustainable income for farmers worldwide and nutritious, affordable food for everyone. We do this by building bridges between different actors in the food chain. And I'm mostly active in Belgium and Europe, where we work around 3 different domains. The first one is inclusive business. So how to make the supply chain more fair. Then the second one is about our program, which is called Good Food at School, which is really closely related to what we are talking about today. And then we have a third pillar, which is awareness raising, because that is a very important part of, in general, if you want to have change to happen, then awareness raising is really important. So I myself, I just 1 minute to close down, work on an EU-funded project, School Food for Change. And this is a big consortium, which is led by ICLE, who is present here as well. It's with 33 partners in 12 EU countries, where we really hope to impact directly on 3,000 schools and about 600,000 school pupils. On the food they eat, but also on the whole way the food in general is seen or perceived at school level. So that's what I do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Annelies. And it's really incredible to hear just the amount of young people you're reaching through what you do as well. It's really incredible, and looking at school meals from every angle as well is really important. I'd also like to introduce Bafi from the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, this is Mehdi Hassan Bapti from Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, GAIN Bangladesh. And I've been working with GAIN for the last 4 months, and I'm leading the youth and adolescent program at GAIN Bangladesh. And aside from this, I am involved with some of the volunteering activities from my student life. I have been leading some of the initiatives related to food and nutrition, because I'm the student of nutrition and food engineering. So it's like part of my interest, and it's very close to my heart to working with food and nutrition since the student life. And I'm really happy to be here with the panelists, and good to see all the participants here with us. Looking forward. Thank you so much, Sophie. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Rafi. We're really excited to have you here with us today. And on the subject of students and young people, we are also joined by Sarah, my fellow AfriFood Africa Change youth leader. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Sophie. Sure. So my name is Saryam, and I'm the AfriFood Africa Change youth leader for Pakistan. I'm originally from Pakistan, but I'm currently based in New York, pursuing cadet degree at Columbia. I am also the founder and coordinator for the UNCTAD Youth Action Hub in Pakistan. So that's Pakistan's first youth-run policy think tank. We're trying to influence policies from a youth perspective. Apart from that, I'm the co-founder of Mavesh E-Mandi. That's an agri-tech startup connecting smallholder farmers in Pakistan directly to consumers. These are livestock farmers that are at the bottom of the pyramid. And through connecting them directly to consumers, they're increasing their profitability. We recently raised our first round of investment from Active Minerals. And one thing missing, so as part of the AfriFood Africa Change project in Pakistan, so what we've done is that we've designed a workshop regarding nutritional awareness for school-going kids, and we're implementing these workshops throughout Pakistan. We're currently in 3 cities, and we're growing day by day. And going forward, our plan is to also set up 2 stalls within schools, so that access to healthy, affordable food is accessible in low-income government schools.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah. You're doing so much incredible work for someone so young. And of course, last but not least, we have Christina from the Municipality of Milan. Go ahead, Christina.
Hello everybody, nice to meet you. I think the video is not working. I don't know, I cannot, well, before it was working. So I work for the Municipality of Milan. Okay, now it's working. I work for the Municipality of Milan, and I work in the Food Policy Office. And one of our main activity is dealing with school canteens, and also with our public service provider, which is Milano Ristorazione. We are also part of the School Food for Change project. And so, hi, Annelies. And we are very happy to participate to this coalition also because we are a member, and to this meeting, also because we have a lot of activities that we do in school. So it's a pleasure for me and for us to share them with you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you for being here, and thank you for doing the work you do. And now for the fun part into our panel discussion, I'm going to ask all our panelists to turn on their videos so that we just have a good discussion going on. I'm going to ask some questions, but if you've got questions for each other, please go ahead. Anything that creates a bit of a dialogue, and we can get to the nitty-gritty of a few bits. So, open question for our lovely panelists. How can young people and other stakeholders interact with each other in order to change food systems together? Because I think often we've seen a multitude of stakeholders and young people work in silos. So how do we break that down? How can we work better together?
So I think I will have a go at it. So I think whenever there are two islands, you have to always build a bridge to get both sides connected, right? And I think we have to do the same thing here. So we need to actually make spaces that are accessible for both sections, for policymakers and youth groups, so that we can have a discussion regarding what food system reforms mean to the youth and policymakers, and have consensus going forward about the kind of food systems that we want to build and the kind of food systems that we want for our world.
Let me just jump in. The food system, whenever we talk about the food system, it's one of the complex thing for the young people and the other people. Whenever I personally talk with the person with different stakeholder, it seems the food system is a complex thing. So whenever it's going to be, because there are multi-stakeholder engagement, so the thing is not in particular 4 or 5 stakeholders that can engage and sustain or change the food system itself. So the thing is dependent with the lots of stakeholder, and when everyone act accurately, then the food system might have an changing and positive impact and sustainable thing. So yeah.
Maybe I jump in as well. It is what you say, like there's so many stakeholders, and I think what happens too often is that not all stakeholders are put around the table together. And I think that's what you should do as an organization working on the change of a food system. Then you should put all the different actors together around the table, because otherwise you cannot you cannot learn from each other. I actually have a very nice example of something which happened in Belgium, which is quite funny as well. That was the University of Leuven in Belgium has got a very big student restaurant. And at a certain point of time, they decide the board of the restaurant decided, well, from now on, the food should be sustainable and healthy. We only want to have 70% of 70% of the food needs to be vegetarian. Otherwise, we are not going to serve it. But students were not consulted. So all of a sudden, 70% of the food was vegetarian, and the price was raised. So the food was more expensive than it was before. And the result was that students were not happy and started to protest. And this got a lot of traction. So it was in all media that students were not happy. And a week after that, the nice idea actually of the board that was launched, a week later they decided, well, we're not going to do this because it doesn't work. So then after that, they started to sit around the table with the students to look what they could do. And then now they have a new system where the price is lower than it was before, and there's still meat served, but there's less meat served, but people have the choice to do what they want. And there it shows really that putting students at the table, they have to eat the food, so it's so logical to include them when decisions are taken about them. It's not about them, it's their food. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've got a similar story from when I was a student. I graduated from university just last year, and during that year, we were seeing an increase in dropout rates of young people in university because they couldn't afford the cost of living, and food on campus was just too high. We're seeing more young people outside food banks across my local city. And as a student group, we actually went to the university president and asked him to change the contract that was already existing with our cafeteria providers. And they basically said no, that it was a long-term contract and they couldn't change it. And this spurred the Students' Union to create a student-led food bank for other students. And within the first 20 minutes of the food bank opening, they ran out of food. So I think what you're showcasing is a successful movement, but I think there's a lot of young people across the world also who are struggling to just break that barrier into sitting at the table. I wonder if Christina, from working on this in Milan, if you have a success story and how we can work better together as well.
Well, I mean, the municipality here works with very young, from the kindergarten to the primary school. And actually the approach is to give food for all of them in school. So all the kids that are at school have to eat in the school. They cannot bring their food, but the kids and who cannot afford it is also subsidized by that. We try to give them, and we developed in this last 5 years or 6 years, a menu that is more sustainable. Actually, what Annalise said was also one of our challenge, because actually we changed the menu without asking to pupils, but because of an healthy issue and also a sustainability issue. So we want to change our menu little by little, not like huge changes. So people have to, adapt to changes. So we started changing the menu, introducing more vegetables, reducing year by year the meat. And actually it was kind of, we didn't involve a lot, even parents, but then when they saw that their kids like the food, then they said, well, okay, they eat it. So it's kind of, get used to new recipes, new type of new habits of eating. And also we did a lot of, and we do also now, a lot of communication. So we print out the menu for all the families. So each family receive twice per year the menu printed, so they can have the menu and they can see how the menu has changed, and they also see some advices that we give to parents in order to be more sustainable in terms of not to waste food, but also to eat better. So to choose fresh food, seasonal food. And so we try to create like a movement, increasing the awareness, first of all, information and awareness from the very, very small kids. As some of the others said, I mean, acting at food system level, it's an issue and it's a challenge. I don't want to say that it's difficult, because the thing is that you have to try to involve per each sector the stakeholders. You have to know a lot of the stakeholders that are part of the system, and then try to get to create with them the idea and the goals that you want to achieve, especially for kids.
Yeah, really, really interesting, Christina, and a great showcase of how it should be done. that you have to talk to your stakeholders, you have to get them in on the idea, and you have to work on implementation with the stakeholders. They're not just young people aren't just the beneficiaries, they are the creators, they are integral parts of the food system from such a young age as well. And also kind of bringing down those barriers as well in terms of food, ensuring that everybody has a meal, a sustainable, healthy meal when they come to school from such a young age is incredibly important. And I really hope that's something we can start to see all across the globe. So it would be really interesting to hear right now, I know you just mentioned it, Christina, but what do school meals actually look like currently in your countries? What are the practices currently being carried out? I know I'm from Ireland, school meals don't exist. I was part of a program when I was in primary school called Food Dudes, that if you had like a bag of carrots during your lunchtime, you got a frisbee at the end of the day, you know? So it was kind of like a reward mechanism, and that's all of what I knew. But it'd be really good to hear what it currently looks like in your countries.
I can say something about that. Of course, I'm working in Belgium, but I'm working on this European project. So I see that there's differences really across Europe, and even in Belgium alone already. You have cities where school meals are partly for free. You have cities where pupils bring mostly lunch boxes to school, so there's no hot meals served. There's schools that have an on-site kitchen, but there's also schools that get catering from big companies, and then you have some from smaller companies. So there's such a wide range. I think because we don't have a federal regulation that says this should be done this way. It should be done this way. So schools decide a bit themselves what is the best way to do it. And now, of course, cities start to work more on food, and they're often like the city, like Christina, city of Milan. Cities are often responsible for procurement, and there you see to start changes, I think, across Europe, where cities become more and more aware of healthy and sustainable food, and take these aspects of sustainability also in their public procurement. And I think that's a really good thing, and I hope it will, this movement to more sustainable public procurement will only grow.
I think maybe I can come in. Like, when it comes about the school meal program in Bangladesh, in my school when I was children, I didn't have heard this kind of things. Like when I get up in this high school and university, these things are getting popular day by day in Bangladesh, what I can say. But interestingly, I want to start from my university life. Back in 2015, I ran an initiative called Standing Against Malnutrition. The initiative was basically to create awareness among the school-going children, teacher, and parents, and mostly the food cart owner in the premises of schools. So based on that experience, like what I have seen, the students are not that much aware about the healthy diet and school meal, all those stuff, because all the schools are not getting the benefit of school meal. In Bangladesh, we have also, like, the government has school meal program initiative, but it's not covered all the institution. Currently, I guess there are 3 million school who are getting 3 meals. 3 million school children, around 15,700 schools who are getting the school meal program benefits in Bangladesh, and it covers all 29 districts among 64 districts. So this is the situation in Bangladesh. And mostly what they are provided, like the fortified biscuits, and also which contain the vitamins and minerals. And also there are some schools who are getting the it's called the rice and khichuri kind of things, which also available local grown food, and which is cooked by the school authority. So this is the current scenario in Bangladesh, that regarding the school meal. And when the thing is, like selecting the school, the government and the authority thinks who are the most vulnerable and who are the most needy regarding the like school meal. And what we have seen regarding the like school meal initiative in a school meal program initiative in Bangladesh, the attendance rate in participant children is getting higher, and also mostly the girl participant who are uh, increasing mostly and attending school regularly. And at the same time, in Bangladesh, what we have seen, that the high like the nutrient requirements for the young school going children, the deficiency rate, the micronutrient deficiency rate is very high. So it is also actually providing the sufficient nutrient for those children who are actually getting the and involving the school meal program. And if I want to say the benefit that Bangladesh is getting from the school meal program, recently we have getting a study from the WFP, I guess, and it also motivates the like parents to get and also motivate children to get involved in the school and ensure the attendance. And also a school meal create a positive ripple effect among the children. And aside this, if I want to say about the GAIN initiative regarding the school meal or the creating awareness among the children and healthy diet and food system, we have an initiative called Eat Well, Live Well. In Bengali, it's called Bhalo Khabo, Bhalo Thakbo. So through these initiative, we are trying to creating awareness among the adolescent and school-going children to take the healthy diets among the tiffin period. And we through these initiative, we have 10 million people, children and adolescents, who take place to get the healthy diet, healthy meal regarding the tiffin period and also in home. And based on this experience, the Act for Food, Act for Change, what we are talking about, the initiative of one of the campaign initiative of GAIN, and now involving with adolescent and also the youth across the world to create awareness. And we have specific one goal. Sophie and Selim can add more on these, that through the goal number 3, I guess, like the every children should get the affordable and also healthy meal during the tiffin period and snacks. So yeah, so the adolescent and youth in Bangladesh are creating awareness among the children and school-going children, also lobby and advocacy with the policymaker to ensure the school meal and good quality and nutritious school meal in Bangladesh. Yeah, that's all about from Bangladesh, and based on my experience, what I can talk about. Over to you, Sophie. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I wonder if Christina or Sarah would like to come in.
Hi, so I think I'll go next. So again, the same as Sophie, school meals don't exist in Pakistan as a thing. As a federal project, as a centralized scheme, it does not exist. But I think one of the prerequisites of having a school meals program is having a decent enough public schooling system. And I think that's where Pakistan is lacking. The public schooling system, the public schooling network in itself, the infrastructure-wise, the governance-wise, it's not up to mark, because of which school meals as a concept cannot be executed on a large level. And so I have actually worked as a teacher in a government school in Islamabad. And Islamabad is the capital of Pakistan, one of the most affluent cities in Pakistan. And even their government schools did not have any kind of school meals. And the thing about Islamabad is that it's a federal capital territory. So a lot of experimentation that happens in education happens in Islamabad first, and if it's good, then the provinces copy it. And it wasn't like there was no discussion happening regarding food meals, but the hurdle was that how do you go about executing school meals for a population so big? and a population so diverse, and a population, our food systems are also very complex. How do you link all of these food systems together? And then there's the big question for developing economies, that who pays for what? So I think that's one of the major challenges. And I think if we are able to get food meals right in Pakistan, it can potentially change the landscape of Pakistan, because I think, first of all, as Mehdi mentioned, the school, Pakistan has one of the highest dropout rates in the world. We have around 23 million out of school children. So if you have school meal programs, and students have an incentive to come to school, students who are coming to school have an added benefit that they have the energy to perform at school. And the third thing is that Pakistan has one of the highest rates of stunting and wasting. And the school meals program is something that can actually help change that narrative and change that fact. But again, such a complex issue that there isn't a proper work being done right now. And when we're talking about stunting and wasting, although a lot of work is being done from the motherhood perspective, that's something that we need to do. School meals is a program, is a tool that's currently missing, and there's a lot of work that can be done. My take on actually how we can implement school meals on a large scale is going local. Having local ecosystems facilitate school meals for local schools. So one of the things that I did in my undergrad, when I was in my second year in undergrad, was that I used to run a community center in an underdeveloped community in Lahore. And that community center used to provide education to around 30 children. And we started a school meals program uh, at that community center. And what we would do was we would source the food from that specific village. And for the preparation of the food, the mothers of the children that were studying there free of cost used to prepare the food. Two, three mothers would get together, prepare the food for their children. So when you bring a community together, you are first inputting resources, and you're also capitalizing on that community hood that there is, and the cost, overall cost of management and oversight also decreases. So I think when we talk about food systems, we always have this centralized approach of uh, of food meals, school meals. We have this centralized approach that we need to always have a center implementing the policy. I think that we need to go local, engage with the local people, build local ecosystems so that they can feed their own school meals.
Thank you so much, Sam. I wonder, Christina,
Sorry,
if you would like to. Go ahead.
have a school canteen service that works like Milan. So we really think that it's a great opportunity if the public authorities choose to have this type of engagement. And also, I was also thinking about the food policy officer, so young food policy officer, because also during these years, I saw that many cities, and Milan is part of the Eurocities group and also of the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact, there are a lot of cities that are engaging in food policy issues, and the officers, so the people that works in these offices most of them are young people, because they know and they are aware of the importance of this issue, and they also can relate all the aspects like the environmental, the health, and they are very aware of the importance of this. So we are also working a lot to try to connect all these new kind of young officers in order to try to change things within the administrations, and also to develop like tools, administrative tools, to try to that can help. So that is very important. And yes, if you have the chance that you can share the video, this is a thing that you can understand because it's in English, and that's for all.
Yes, I can share the video. It's 2 minutes long, so I will just share it now. Just give me a second. It seems there is a technical problem with the video, so I will just share the link in the chat for people to watch it.
Great, thank you so much. Yes, Annalise, do you want to come in?
Thank you. I'm I'm really curious about the movie, so I'd like to watch it afterwards. I agree with Christina that there's a big role for these local governments, but also I want to come back to what Mohammed said about bringing the community together. I think this is so important, and I would be quite curious to know how others do this, because it's about the food that has been eaten at school, but if a school serves very healthy meals, but if kids go out of the schools or pupils go out of the school and in the vicinity of 100 meters of the school, they can eat chips and they can eat hamburgers and they can eat everything which is really not seen as healthy, then it's very difficult to have a straightforward message. So that's why we think it's really important to also speak with these actors around the school, because maybe there's possibilities to work together in a way that they can still serve chips, but also serve something others that might be maybe a bit more healthy, or so that's, I think that's very important as well.
So I think, just from my experience, I think when you're getting the pivotal point of actually community action is having a strong local governance structure. And I think the school governance bodies that have balance in them also, that's a huge point. And I think in Pakistan, as that's an institution that's still developing, but in developed economies, that's something that can be leveraged on. But I think even so, for example, when I was teaching in a low-income government school that not have a food meal programs, most of my students would have chips for lunch because the chips actually cost around 3-4 rupees, and an apple would cost around 7-8 rupees. So I think there's first is awareness, and the second is also if all of the surrounding shops are replaced with healthy foods. Again, going to the example of the university, if we just replace them with healthy food, can students actually afford them? And I think that's an issue of also that's a larger issue that healthy food is so expensive that especially students in low income communities cannot afford it. Hence, they all go for smaller ticket size unhealthy snacks that they bring to school.
I think I can add with Sarim, in Bangladesh, what we have seen through the Biki Beti campaign, Bhalo Khabo Bhalo Thakbo campaign, running the campaign in school, adolescent and children, we have an research that the student actually like to take the food which is more tasty, crispy, and it looks good. So when the food is available surrounding the school, they're more likely to take those food as their tiffin period or as a snacks. So maybe at the same time, when we talk about the healthy foods, those are not readily available in the school premises. So when it comes the school authority or the local government or the government authority should step in and take forward action regarding the school, the meal available around the school should have at least minimum kind of standard regarding the food safety issues, and also the nutrient issues should be considered at least in the school premises, because of whenever it available, the children will take the crispy thing rather than the healthy thing.
And just adding on, I think it's not just kids. Human beings in general prefer tasty food. And I think all of us here, we would have a healthy diet, but we would have our guilty pleasures also. And I have mine. I always get these sour strips. That's my guilty pleasure. And I have to have them. And it's unhealthy, but I still have to have them. So it's human nature also. But the thing is that we need to set the mechanism right also, because over the years, unhealthy food has become so cheap to produce. The thing that we need to tackle is that we need to make the production of healthy food cheaper also.
And as we come to the end of the panel, it would be really great to hear from you all. Why is the School Meals Coalition so important? And like, reiterate again, why exactly should it involve young people? Why hasn't it involved young people in the creation of school meals from the beginning? And do you have any examples? I think you've shared a lot already, but anything you would like our listeners in and the School Meals Coalition as a whole to take inspiration from as they move into creation and implementation with young people? Maybe Christina, we'll start with you.
Hi. So I think that it's very important because also, as I said before, the participation to networks and also to networks that are very, very focused on specific issues like this could help us in sharing the experiences that all the city are starting or have started and have developed. So that's why also in our case for Milan, it's also important because when you go in other networks such as the Milan Urban Food Policy Pact or the European projects like the one like School Food for Change, we can, bring and brought experiences and knowledge and try also to discuss with other countries like we are doing today, from the north to the south, but also even in European countries as well, in order to see what are the main challenges, to overcome in order to act and be effective in terms of school meals, particularly for the primary school, and also to start to address other issues. For instance, another nice experience that we have done is also participate to the School Food Pledge initiative, and also to be able to involve the universities in Milan in analyzing their catering services and try to understand how they can be more sustainable. And we will publish some guidelines dedicated to university and to caterers in order to make them more sustainable, collaborating and creating the knowledge that we have to. So it's very important to strengthen our knowledge and our experiences also in the coalition. So thanks a lot for this.
Thank you, Christina. I see Gabriella, you have your hand up.
Yes, hi, and apologies for joining a little bit later. I had to teach this morning, but I was just sort of listening in for the last 15 minutes or so, and really like excited to sort of address some of these issues on a global level. But one of the things that kind of really hit me, a lot of the work that I was doing with schools and policy implementation and then now school meals, is just the fact that we constantly undermine youth and don't necessarily see them as an equal player at the table. And it's quite frustrating because I think we can all think back to times that we have felt like that as children. And so I think it's just one of those wake-up calls, I suppose, to just sort of really start honoring their expertise as people who are those end users. And so just yesterday we were able to meet with, so I'm over at Temple University in Philadelphia, but from the UK originally, but we were able to meet with a group of adolescents across the state of Pennsylvania to basically get their feedback on some of the measurement tools that we're hoping to use in some of our school meals implementation studies. And just an hour of their time saved us probably weeks of work to try and figure out how to get better uptake or how to better address needs. And so I just feel like the investment piece can be initially daunting because we do have to take extra precautions to make sure we can involve them, whether it's approval from our ethics board or extra permissions and permission slips. But just the investment, I think, in that knowledge and experience, I think just pays so much more, and it's just so worthwhile. So I think, just to answer Sophie, your question about like why haven't we so far, I think sometimes it can seem like a time burden, but I feel like we should look at it as a time investment. And so that is one of the biggest things that has really kind of reinstated my position on this when someone asks like, oh, why are you waiting for research approval to work with students? And I tell them, I'm like, it's because if we don't involve them now, then we're wasting lots of dollars and money trying to do something that they don't even want to do or they're interested in. So yeah, I'll just say it's an investment, and I'll leave it at that for now.
I completely agree with you, Gabriella. I mean, adolescents particularly have often been ignored and kind of left out. I mean, if you look at the Sustainable Development Goals under SDG 2.0 hunger, there's an incredible list of targets, but not one mentions adolescents. There's one target which mentions young pregnant women in terms of iron deficiency, but there's not one target for 2030 that mentions adolescents and young people. So it is quite interesting, and it just goes to show that more needs to be done to incorporate young people and specifically adolescents from the get-go. And I know we're running a little bit low on time, and I need to come to you, Gabriella, to showcase other research that you're doing. So maybe a quick snippet from Annalise, Sarim, and then Bapi.
Well, I think we can all agree here. I think at this table, everyone will agree that pupils should be involved. I think what happens very often is that it is seen as not only time investment, but also as something complicated, because they're at school, all these, for instance, the caterers, the big companies, the school board, they're having their meetings at moments that these pupils are not there. And so they see it as something which is often seen as something too complicated to achieve. It's not, I don't think it's really unwillingness or something. It's just because for their convenience, sometimes they're left out, and that's really a shame, of course.
I think when it comes to like why school meal collusion or why it's needed, Gabriela has just shared like regarding the investment. If we invest $1 in school meal, the community receive $9 economic returns. Like it is according to the WFP. So we can see the impact of school meal like the impact we are having if we convert into the economic status. And if it is not economic, like the school meal is, the children need the good nutrition. And when school meal is provided, it ensures at least the children who are actually passing the most of the time in the school, they might get the required nutrition, at least at the minimum level of nutrition from the school meal. And it ensured the physical growth, psychological development, sound health for the children. And also when it comes to the school meal program, the spatial role in fulfilling the nutritional requirement for the school going children, and also the establishing like the education, also the nutrition for them initial level. And at the same time that I shared, like the school meal are high return investment in human capital and local economies. And when it comes that like the school meal can play a big role in the national development, because of those are the children who will lead the like the nation and the world tomorrow. If they are they're suffering for micronutrient deficiencies, what we can expect from them. And when it comes to the youth involvement, why youth can involve and how youth can involve. Youth can involve in many ways because of youth, 1/3 of the young population across the world. If the young people want to bring changes regarding the food system and also the school meal, the young people can change the awareness of the people, and also they can they can advocacy for the school meal where it is not provided yet. And at the same time, if as I shared a little bit earlier regarding the healthy snacks item, young people can awareness about the healthy diet and school meal also. And they can support the youth and adolescent initiative regarding the school gardening and home gardening. It will create a mass awareness and also ensure the food security for the homestead ecosystem, food ecosystem. And I want to ensure and share one thing regarding the youth engagement, not only for as a participatory method, if we can engage youth in the process officially regarding the school meal program or school meal coalition, then youth can raise their voice, youth can share their innovative ideas with the forum and also the decision-making process, because the youth who will be talking today with the policymaker, few years back, they had the same problem probably. They face the problem. They have the real life example from their school life. So they can share inside their ideas that how it was when they're in the school, regarding their school meal and all those stuff. And one other thing I want to mention, engaging youth through the entrepreneurs, because of the, if we promote the youth entrepreneurs in school meal program as a service provider, it will also empower them to grow economically, to run the business as an entrepreneurship and contribute more in the school meal program. I guess those are the things we can consider and we can practice, we can advocate for. But I want to share, like finish with a quote by the David, the executive director of WFP, that if you want to increase the poverty, don't provide school meals. If you want to more child marriage, don't provide school meal. If you want more destabilization, migration, and recruitment by the extreme group, don't provide school meals. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sophie.
Thank you, Bapi. I might hand over to Saram for a final word of inspiration.
So I think school meals for me is a basic human right now. I think we've treated education as a basic human right for the last 70 years. But I think one of the things that we missed out on education is that it's a complex multi-sectoral product that food is very important for. So early childhood education results in cognitive development. So if a person does not have access to, am I still audible? Yeah, so if a person does not have access to good food in its early childhood, his cognitive development doesn't take place. No matter how much education he gets in the future, he'll never be able to get to his optimum. So I think school meals in general is a human right. And I think youth engagement has been missing since the last 70 years or the last 100 years, is that it's never been on the agenda. And I think it's on the agenda right now. And I think our time is here. And I think the bridges are there. We just need to build more and utilize our spaces in a more optimal way.
Thank you so much, Saram. And you mentioned optimizing space, taking up space, and youth engagement. I think that's the perfect time to bring in Gabriella McLaughlin, from the Early Career Researchers and Youth Community of Practice Research Consortium. Very happy to hand over to you, Gabriella, for some words of wisdom or presentation on the work you do.
Well, thank you. I'll be really quick, and I didn't want to overwhelm folks with the slideshow just because it really can touch on some of the things we're discussing already. But we are launching a new community of practice as part of the LSHTM Research Consortium. And so there's 4 COPs already in existence that really rely on like evidence for practice and the bond kids, and I think you'll hear about that next in the next session for today. But one of the problems, as we've already kind of discussed, and I think we're all right aware of, is we don't really have a good way for youth and early career researchers and practitioners to get involved in some of those key decision-making steps. So there are sort of several key goals of the COP that we're starting to launch right now. And again, I want to make sure that this is something that we want to make available for anyone who wants to join. And I will drop also the email to into the chat box in a second so that you guys can sort of pass this around and disseminate information. But basically, we want to make sure that there are chances for youth, so individuals in that adolescent stage, and early career folks. So that's anyone in their bachelor's or master's program, their PhD, but also people who are like 10 years post-masters, post-bachelors who are working in this area and want to have a voice. We want to provide ways for people to engage in research, so collaborating with researchers. If you are a student, we want to make sure that there's involvement in that process, because for all the reasons we just described, adding youth is a huge investment into our research. We also want to contribute to some of the policy briefs and issue and things that we'd like to sort of disseminate in terms of the overall consortium and the research consortium. So Linda's just put that in the chat, beat me to it. So for anyone who's interested in joining, we would love to have you. We are just starting out. We are just starting to think about what are the processes and practices we want to actually embody this group. And so a lot of these ideas are very much at the starting point. Just really excited because we want to make sure that we have equal voice and representation from everybody who wants to join. But the first step really is to email the address that Linda just put in the chat box. And really, the ultimate goal is to have better representation of youth and early career voices in our research, better advocacy, and also better involvement with youth and early career in the School Meals Coalition and hopefully world-feeding programs globally. So that's really a basic nutshell of the COP and what we hope to achieve. We do have other sort of more practical and logistical steps that we're trying to figure out right now, but I don't want to bore you with those just right now. But the key message is that we really want to have as much involvement as possible. So, Sophie, did that cover what you wanted me to sort of address, or should I add anything? Or
absolutely brilliant. And I think if anybody has any questions for Gabriella on what she's just spoken about, please put them in the chat box, and Gabrielle will be able to answer you there. And of course, follow the links that were shared by Gabriella's colleagues as well. We are running a little over on time, so I'm going to really quickly tell you a little bit about Act for Food, Act for Change, and then hand over to my colleague Gio to talk about something extremely timely and coincides with the School Meals Coalition week really, really well. So Act for Food, Act for Change is a youth-led campaign to transform food systems. We started out of May last year with the aim of following the climate youth-led movement to create a movement of young people within food systems who want change. We started out with a petition to get other young people on board, but also allies of youth, and create a community that showcased that we're serious about change, and change needs to come timely and it needs to happen quick. There's a pledge you can take on Act for Food, Act for Change, which right now has over 160,000 pledgees who want to transform food systems with young people. But our young people didn't stop at that. A pledge, they said, needed implementation. So we created a youth consultation and asked over 100,000 young people from right across the globe, if you had a decision maker, a policy maker sitting in front of you, what would you want them to change with food systems transformation? And equally importantly, what can you commit to changing yourself? So we had an incredible amount of replies. We brought them down to 17 what we call actions for change. And now we have, we had a voting system on those. And right now we have a global top 10 actions for change that young people want decision makers to act on into the coming few years. And interestingly, number one came up as everyone should be able to afford healthy and nutritious food. And number three is every child should eat a healthy and sustainable meal at school, college, or nursery. So I guess our call to action is for decision makers to take these global actions on board and work alongside young people to create long-lasting change for the next few years. And that was it in a nutshell, but I'm going to hand over to Gio to do her call for action.
Yes, thank you, Sophie, and hello, everybody. I was a bit on the background for most of the event, but I'm Georgia. I work at DCLAY, which is the co-organizer of this session. And I just wanted to share something with you, which is very timely and very much linked to what Sophie just said about what young people want. We just launched, or like a few weeks ago, a petition that you can find in the chat. I will just share it now for the rights of every child child in every school to a healthy and sustainable meal every day, and also to food education. So we're really asking the European Commission to really think about this when they write or rewrite policies, and really include this to allow not just certain countries to provide that, but to be something that can be achieved in all countries in Europe, but also beyond. That's obvious. I mean, we are starting from the European Union because that's where most of our work as ICLE Europe starts from, but our aim is also to influence the global arena. So that's also why we are involved in the School Meal Coalition. So please sign the petition. We got over 8,000 signatures already, but we're aiming for more. And the more we are, the more our voice can be stronger with policymakers everywhere. And so I really invite you to sign and share. The petition that I shared in the chat is in English, but it can also be found in other languages like French, Spanish, Italian, Greek. So really look for it. You can click in the Avast platform to change the language in case that doesn't fit your surrounding. Yeah, so thank you so much for allowing me to share that, and very happy obviously to take any question in the chat for the last few minutes we have available. And I pass to you to conclude, Sophie.
Thank you so much. I think this has been a really great session, and I'd like to thank the School Meals Coalition for having us, and our brilliant partners, ICLE and the Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition, and of course our incredible panelists, Bapi, Gabriella, Saram, Christina, and Elise. And you didn't see her here, but you'll see her in the future, Yumna Hussain, who was supposed to moderate the session but couldn't make it. She's an incredible youth leader from Act for Food, Act for Change, and if you have a few minutes, please do look her up. She is my hero. I think some things to take from this session is that youth involvement needs to happen from the beginning. We cannot be ignored for any longer. Things need to change. School meals are an investment, and that return on investment is astoundingly high. The research is in our favor to get school meals on every governmental agenda, and to see ICLE's petition and to get more signatures, more names, and get that word out there so that we can showcase that young people and allies of youth are really behind this movement and that we need long-lasting change. And it was really great to hear all the evidence from what has worked to what hasn't worked and what we need to do into the future. So thank you so much again for having us and listening in. And please don't hesitate to get in touch if you have any question into the future or want to get involved in any of our movements. Thank you so much again.